Before we dive in, tell us in the comments, what would you do if someone hurt the person you love most? Keep that answer in mind. The diner door chimed. Every head turned. Caden Bennett didn't walk into a room. He claimed it. Navy suit, sharp enough to cut bone, shoes polished to mirrors, silver cufflinks catching the morning light like twin promises of violence wrapped in silk. Have you ever seen someone so calm they felt dangerous? That was Caden. Behind him, a mountain of a man filled the doorframe. Dante, his enforcer, 6'5" of scarred knuckles and stone-cold loyalty. But it was Caden who stole the oxygen from the room. His eyes, steel gray, glacier cold, swept across the frozen diners, past the overturned coffee mug still dripping onto checkered tile, past the waitress with her hand frozen over her mouth. They landed on his mother. Maya sat collapsed against the booth, one hand pressed to her reddening cheek, the other trembling against the table. Her reading glasses had fallen. A smear of blood traced the corner of her lip. Think about your own mother for just a second. Now imagine seeing her like this. Caden's jaw tightened. Just once, that was all. But the temperature in the diner plummeted 10 degrees. Wyatt Holmes, still standing over Maya, chest puffed, knuckles still tingling from the slap, hadn't noticed the shift yet. He was too busy grinning at his audience, basking in his small-town tyranny. Old Broad had it coming, Wyatt muttered to no one in particular. Bumped into me. Didn't even apologize. A lie. Everyone knew it. No one spoke. Caden's footsteps echoed across the linoleum. Slow, measured, deliberate, each step a countdown. Tick, tick, tick. Wyatt finally looked up, and the smirk died on his lips. Comment, mistake, if you think Wyatt just sealed his fate. Caden, Maya's voice cracked. Please. That single word, please, was a leash. A lifeline, the only thing standing between Wyatt Holmes and a closed-casket funeral. Caden stopped 3 feet from the bully. Close enough to smell the stale whiskey on his breath. Close enough to see the arrogance flickering into something else. Fear. You touched her, Caden said softly. His voice was silk over razor wire. Wyatt swallowed, tried to bluster. Look, man, I don't know who you think. You touched her, Caden repeated, quieter still. Dante shifted behind him. The floorboards groaned. Wyatt's eyes darted to the door. Too far. His friends, the 2 truckers who usually backed his plays, had already melted into the booths, suddenly fascinated by their scrambled eggs. Cowards always recognize bigger predators. Maya rose on shaking legs, placed a hand on her son's arm. Caden, look at me. He did. And for just a second, the ice cracked. Beneath the tailored suit and controlled fury was a boy who'd once held his dying father's hand, who'd sworn an oath to protect the one person left in this world who called him by his first name. I'm all right, Maya whispered, but you won't be if you do this here. Moral dilemma. Burning hot. End this now. Show Wyatt what happens when you touch a Bennett, or obey the woman who taught him that power without restraint is just violence with a business card. Here's where it gets interesting. Some of you are screaming, "End him." Others are thinking, "Listen to your mother." Drop a comment. Which side are you on? The diner held its breath. Caden's hand, already halfway to Wyatt's throat, stopped. Flexed, dropped. He adjusted his cufflink, smoothed his lapel. When he spoke again, his voice carried to every corner of the room. You're going to apologize to my mother. Wyatt blinked. What? You're going to get on your knees, and you're going to apologize. Caden tilted his head. Or I'm going to let Dante teach you manners. And Dante wasn't raised by a saint. Behind him, Dante cracked his knuckles. The sound was a gunshot in the silence. If you were in that diner, would you look away or watch? Be honest. Wyatt's face went from red to white. His eyes bounced between Caden's expressionless mask and Dante's anticipatory grin. Look, it was just knees, Caden interrupted. Now. 10 seconds passed. Then Wyatt's legs buckled. He dropped, knees hitting tile with a dull thud that made the waitress wince. I'm sorry, ma'am, he mumbled to his own hands. Louder, Caden said. And look at her. Wyatt's head snapped up. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Maya said nothing, just stared at this broken man with something that might have been pity. Caden let the silence stretch. Let the humiliation soak in. Let every witness in this diner understand that some people have invisible empires and you don't see the weight until it's crushing your windpipe. Then he leaned down, close enough that only Wyatt could hear. Who paid you? Wait, paid? This wasn't random. Comment if you caught that twist. Wyatt's eyes went wide. No one. I swear. Caden's hand shot out, gripped Wyatt's jaw. Not hard, didn't have to be. I'm going to ask one more time, and if you lie to me again, you'll spend the next 6 months drinking through a straw. His thumb pressed against Wyatt's carotid. Who paid you? Wyatt's breath came in short gasps. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Someone left cash in my truck with a note, said to rough up the old lady at the diner. Said she owed money or something. What did the note say exactly? Just send a message. That's all. I swear that's all. Caden released him. Wyatt collapsed forward, gasping. Micro cliffhanger. Caden straightened, pulled a pristine handkerchief from his pocket, wiped his hand slowly, methodically. His mind was already 3 moves ahead, calculating, strategizing. Someone knew Maya was here. Someone knew her schedule. Someone had hired local trash to send a message, which meant this wasn't random. It was a test, and we both know tests like these never end well. If you're not subscribed yet, you're going to want to be, because what comes next is going to blow your mind. He glanced at Dante, a single nod. Dante stepped forward, grabbed Wyatt by the collar, dragged him toward the door like a sack of garbage. Wait, Wyatt sputtered. Where are you? The door swung shut behind them. Caden turned to his mother, cupped her face gently, examined the bruise already forming. We're leaving, he said quietly. Caden, not negotiable. He guided her toward the exit, one hand on her back, protective, tender. But his eyes swept the diner one last time, cataloging faces, memorizing witnesses, calculating threats. As they reached the door, he paused, looked back at the room full of frightened strangers. Breakfast is on me, he said simply. Tip your waitress well. Then he was gone. The door chimed, and for a full 30 seconds, no one moved. Then the whispers started. Who was that? That was Caden Bennett. The Caden Bennett? Oh God, Wyatt's dead. Outside, Dante shoved Wyatt into the back of a black Escalade. Caden slid into the passenger seat, pulled out his phone. Get me Victor, he said into the receiver, and pull surveillance footage from every camera within 6 blocks. I want to know who's been watching. Mia sat in the back, silent, watching her son transform from the gentle boy she raised into something else, something that terrified her. Here's the real question. Is Caden protecting his mother or losing himself? Comment your theory. Caden, she said softly, promise me you won't lose yourself in this. He met her eyes in the rearview mirror. Didn't promise, couldn't. From the Escalade's trunk came a muffled shout, then sudden silence. Dante glanced at Caden. Want me to start? Caden's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Your mother looks lovely in blue. Does she look as good in black? Attached, a photo of Maya, taken this morning, before she entered the diner. That's not just a threat. That's a death sentence being written in real time. If this gave you chills, smash that subscribe button. Chapter 2 is going to be absolutely ruthless. Caden's knuckles whitened around the phone. Start, he said quietly. The Escalade pulled away from the diner. War had just been declared, and Caden Bennett never lost wars. But here's what we need to know. Would you stay human if someone threatened your family like this, or would you become the monster they fear? Tell us in the comments, and if you haven't subscribed, do it now. You won't forgive yourself if you miss what happens to Wyatt in that trunk. The parking lot behind the diner smelled like engine oil and regret. Cold air bit at Caden's face as he stepped out of the Escalade, breath visible in the October chill. Gravel crunched under his Italian leather shoes, a sound that made Wyatt flinch inside the trunk. Dante popped it open with one meaty hand. Wyatt spilled out like trash, knees scraping asphalt. His breath came in ragged gasps, fog clouds of terror mixing with the scent of pine trees and distant wood smoke from someone's morning fire. Please, Wyatt's voice cracked. I told you everything. Caden crouched down, eye level, silent. Have you ever been so angry you couldn't speak? That's where Caden lived right now. His cufflinks caught the morning sun, those silver twins that cost more than Wyatt's truck. One had a tiny speck of something on it. He rubbed it with his thumb. His mother's blood. The rage that surged through him wasn't hot. It was ice, calculated. The kind of fury that doesn't scream. It plans funerals. You said someone left cash in your truck, Caden said quietly. Too quietly. How much? 500. You sold my mother's safety for $500. It wasn't a question. Dante cracked his knuckles again, a sound like breaking branches. Wyatt's eyes went wide, tracking the enforcer's hands like a rabbit watching a wolf circle. The moral dilemma hit Caden like a hammer. He could extract every name, every detail, every thread of this conspiracy right here, right now. Dante knew 17 ways to make a man sing without leaving visible marks. It would take 10 minutes, but his mother's voice echoed in his skull. Promise me you won't lose yourself. Some of you think he should do whatever it takes to protect her. Others think violence makes him the villain. Tell us in the comments, where's your line? The note, Caden continued, his voice like gravel. Describe it, every detail. Wyatt's teeth chattered. From cold or fear, impossible to tell. White paper, typed. No signature. Just said, send a message to the widow. Make it hurt. You'll get more if you do it right. Where's the note now? I burned it. Caden's hand shot out, gripped Wyatt's throat. Not choking, just holding. The pulse under his fingers hammered like a trapped bird. Wrong answer. Wait. Wyatt's eyes bulged. There might be the envelope. I might have kept the envelope in my glove box, I swear. Caden released him. Wyatt collapsed, coughing, gasping, the taste of his own fear probably coating his tongue. Dante, get the envelope. The enforcer moved with surprising grace for a man his size, heading toward Wyatt's rusted pickup at the edge of the lot. Caden stood, adjusted his cuffs, looked down at the broken man at his feet. "You're going to leave this town," he said softly. "Tonight. You're going to drive until you hit a state border, and you're never coming back." Wyatt nodded frantically. Yes, sir, thank you. I'm not finished." The temperature dropped again. "If I ever hear your name again, if you ever come within 100 miles of my mother, if you even think about her." Caden leaned down, his voice a whisper that somehow felt louder than a scream. "Dante won't be the one who finds you. I will." Wyatt's face went gray. Dante returned, holding a crumpled manila envelope between two fingers like it was contaminated. "Got it, boss. Return address on the corner." Caden took it. His eyes scanned the faded ink and froze. That feeling when everything you thought you knew shatters. Comment if you're feeling it right now. The return address was a P.O. box. Nothing unusual, but the city stamp, the postal mark, made his blood run cold. It was from his own territory, his own city, someone inside his network. Someone who knew where Maya would be. Someone with access to details only inner circle members possessed. "Boss!" Dante's voice cut through the static in Caden's brain. Caden's jaw clenched. His father's voice echoed from the grave. "The knife that kills you always comes from behind." He turned to Wyatt one last time. "One more question. The cash. What bills?" "Hundreds. 5 of them. Sequential. New. Still crisp." Sequential bills, traceable, professional. This wasn't some street thug throwing money around. This was someone who wanted to be found. Someone playing a bigger game. Someone sending a message through the message. "Get him out of here," Caden said to Dante. "Make sure he's on the interstate by sunset." As Dante hauled Wyatt away, the broken man's voice cracked one last time. "The guy who gave me the envelope." Caden stopped, turned. I didn't see his face, but I heard him on the phone after. He called someone, used a name, said Victor will handle the next phase. The world tilted. Victor. His consigliere, his right hand. His most trusted advisor for 15 years. If you felt that gut punch, you're not alone. Drop a comment. Could Victor really betray him? Caden's phone was already at his ear before Wyatt finished the sentence. "Get me everyone. Secure line. Now." The Escalade's engine roared to life. War wasn't just declared. It was already inside the gates. Maya's house sat on the edge of Lake Serenity like a postcard. White shutters, flower boxes, the kind of peace Caden had bought with blood money and sleepless nights. Now it felt like a trap. The Escalade rolled up the gravel driveway at dusk, headlights cutting through the purple twilight. Caden's eyes caught it immediately. A black sedan parked 2 houses down, engine off, windows tinted dark as secrets. It hadn't been there this morning. "Third one today," Dante muttered from the driver's seat. "Silver SUV at noon. Gray truck around 3, now this." Caden's jaw tightened. Plates. All rentals, different companies, paid cash, professional, coordinated, watching. The air outside tasted like coming rain and wet leaves. Caden helped Maya from the back seat, her hand trembling slightly in his. The bruise on her cheek had darkened to an ugly purple. A stain he couldn't wash away. "Caden, you're hurting my hand," she whispered. He loosened his grip. Hadn't realized he was squeezing. Inside, the house smelled like lavender and old books. Maya's sanctuary. But Caden saw it differently now. Ground floor windows, single deadbolt, wooden door that wouldn't stop a determined kick. A nightmare for security. Have you ever realized your safe place wasn't safe at all? That's the feeling crawling up Caden's spine right now. I'll make tea, Maya said softly, moving toward the kitchen. No. Caden's voice came out harder than intended. Sit, please. She studied his face, the way only mothers can, and sat. Caden pulled out his phone. 3 texts to Victor, all unread. Radio silence for 6 hours. His consigliere never went dark, not for 6 minutes, let alone 6 hours. Dante, I want a full team here by midnight. Rotating shifts, motion sensors on every approach, cameras covering blind spots. Already called it in, boss. Maya's teacup rattled against the saucer. Caden, what's happening? The moral dilemma hit him like a freight train. Tell her the truth, that someone inside his organization likely ordered the attack, that Victor might be a traitor, that armed men would be living in her garden shed by morning. Or lie, protect her innocence. Let her sleep tonight believing her son is just being overcautious. Some of you would tell her everything. Others would keep her in the dark to spare her the fear. What would you do? Comment below. Someone's watching the house, Caden said carefully. Until I know who and why, I'm not taking chances. Is this about this morning? Yes. And you think, her voice cracked, you think they'll come back? Caden knelt beside her chair, took her hands. They felt so small, so fragile. He remembered these hands teaching him to tie his shoes, bandaging scraped knees, holding his face when his father died. I won't let anyone hurt you again, he said. I promise. That's not what I'm afraid of. He looked up, met her eyes. I'm afraid of what you'll become while protecting me, Maya whispered. Your father, he started just like this. One threat, one enemy, then another. Then he couldn't stop. The violence became who he was. The words hit harder than any bullet. Outside, gravel crunched. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate. Dante's hand went to his jacket. Caden rose, every muscle coiled. Stay with her. He moved to the window, peered through the lace curtains. A figure approached the porch, tall, broad-shouldered, face hidden in shadow. The doorbell rang. Then again, insistent. Caden's hand found the Glock tucked at his spine. The metal felt cold, certain. He approached the door, checked the peephole. Empty porch. But something white caught his eye at the bottom of the door. A slip of paper, half visible under the frame. The smell of rain intensified. Storm coming fast now. Wind picking up through the pines. If you're holding your breath right now, you're not alone. Drop a comment. Should he open that door? Caden turned the deadbolt. Pulled the door open in one smooth motion. Gun ready. Nothing. Just wind. The sedan down the street. Gone. Tail lights disappearing around the bend. He looked down. A white envelope lay on the welcome mat, pristine despite the threatening weather. No name. No address. Just a red wax seal. Old school, deliberate. Pressed with the symbol he recognized instantly. His father's family crest. The one that died with the old man 15 years ago. The one no one should have known about except immediate family. Caden's hands shook. Actually shook. As he picked it up. The paper felt expensive. Heavy. The kind of stationery that cost more per sheet than most people spent on groceries. He broke the seal. Inside, a single sentence typed in elegant font. She raised a king. We're going to bury a prince. The Forgotten Sons. The Forgotten Sons. A name from ghost stories. Whispers. His father's past. The families he'd destroyed building his empire. Bloodlines supposedly erased. Children scattered. Vendettas buried. But blood doesn't forget. And debts compound with interest. "Boss?" Dante's voice came from inside. "Everything okay?" Caden folded the note, pocketed it. His mind raced through decades-old files, connections, names his father had made him memorize as a child. How many sons? How many daughters? How many orphans had his father's rise to power created? And how many of them had been watching? Waiting, growing, planning. He stepped back inside, locked the door. 3 deadbolts this time. Maya stood in the hallway, arms wrapped around herself. Who was it? No one. Caden lied. Tasted like ash in his mouth. You're lying. Not angry, just sad. You're already becoming someone else. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed. Unknown number, text message. A photo loaded slowly, the kind of deliberate reveal that twists the knife. It was Victor, tied to a chair, beaten, bloodied, but alive, and behind him, scratched into the concrete wall, a message. Come alone, or she's next. Below the photo, an address. An abandoned warehouse on the South Docks. The kind of place where screams get swallowed by fog and crashing waves. Caden's world narrowed to a pinpoint. They had Victor. They wanted him. They'd use Maya as leverage if he brought backup. The ultimate dilemma. Go alone and walk into an obvious trap, or bring his army and risk his mother's life. What would you do? Walk into the trap or risk everything? Tell us in the comments, because what Caden chooses next changes everything. Dante, Caden said quietly, get the team here now. No one leaves her side. Not even to piss. Where are you going? Caden grabbed his keys, checked his gun. His face had gone empty, the mask he wore when he stopped being a son and became what his empire needed. To end this, the door closed behind him. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and Maya stood alone in her lavender-scented house, watching through the window as her son drove into the darkness, wondering if he'd come back human, or come back at all. The town knew before sunrise. That's how power works. It has a scent. Blood and ozone and something animal that makes ordinary people lock their doors. Caden drove through Main Street at dawn, and it was like watching dominoes fall. The hardware store that usually opened at 6, dark. The coffee shop where truckers gathered, closed, sign already flipped. Mrs. Chen, who'd run the flower stand for 30 years, was boarding up her windows. The air tasted like fear, and Caden had put it there. His phone buzzed constantly. Texts, calls, alerts. He ignored them all except one number. Still nothing from Victor. 18 hours of silence that screamed louder than any confession. Dante sat beside him, loading magazines with methodical precision. The click, click, click of bullets sliding into chambers mixed with the hum of the engine. They're scared, Dante observed, watching a shopkeeper rush inside and bolt the lock. They should be. Have you ever walked through a place and felt the weight of everyone's eyes avoiding you? That's what Caden felt in every shadow, every drawn curtain. The Escalade pulled into an alley behind Rosie's Tavern, the kind of establishment where information flowed cheaper than whiskey. Caden had 3 informants inside. By noon, he'd know every whisper, every rumor, every frightened speculation about what storm was coming. The back door opened before he knocked. Marcus Webb, no relation to any overused names, stood there. 60-something, ex-cop turned professional, ear to the ground. His face was gray, hands shaking as he held a cigarette. "You shouldn't be here," Marcus said. "I'm everywhere." Caden stepped inside. The bar smelled like stale beer and desperation. "Talk." Marcus led him to a back booth, kept glancing at the exits like a rabbit considering bolt holes. "The town's talking, saying war's coming, saying you're going to burn everything down looking for whoever touched your mother. Are they wrong? No. Marcus took a long drag. But there's more. Your guy, Victor. Word is he's been meeting someone. South Docks. 3 times in the past month. Always night, always alone. Caden's jaw tightened. Who? Don't know. But whoever it is, they've got serious backing. Money moving through channels that don't exist on paper. Ghost accounts. The kind of operation that takes years to set up. Years. This wasn't spontaneous. This was patient. Calculated. Someone had been planning this while Caden thought he was building an empire. You ever realize you've been playing checkers while someone else played chess? Comment if you've felt that gut punch of being 3 steps behind. The Forgotten Sons, Caden said quietly. Mean anything to you? Marcus's cigarette stopped halfway to his lips. That's old blood. Your father's sins coming home. Families he crushed building his kingdom. I heard rumors they were reforming, but... He shook his head. I thought it was just paranoid talk. It's not. The door burst open. A young woman, Tessa, Marcus's niece, 22 and tough as nails, stumbled in, breathing hard. Uncle Marcus, they found Lenny. Who's Lenny? Dante asked. Marcus stood. One of my sources. Solid guy. What do you mean found? Tessa's face was pale. Floating in the harbor, throat cut. Message carved into his chest. Stop asking questions. The temperature in the room dropped. Caden felt something crack inside, not his control, but his restraint. The leash his mother had put on him was fraying strand by strand. Where's your mother right now? Marcus asked quietly. Protected. 8 men. Secure location. Keep it that way. Marcus crushed out his cigarette. Because whoever's behind this, they're not playing for territory. They're playing for extinction. Yours. Caden's phone rang. Home security system. His heart stopped. What? He answered. Boss, we're okay. It was Dante's second, Garrett. But you need to see this. What happened? Nothing happened. That's what's wrong. We just did a perimeter check. Found your mother in the garden. She's fine, but she's asking for you. Says she needs to talk. Now. Something in Garrett's voice made Caden's instincts scream. Put her on. Static. Then Maya's voice, steady but strained. Caden, come home, please. There's something I need to tell you, something about your father, something I should have told you 15 years ago. The line went dead. What secret has Maya been carrying? Drop your theory in the comments right now. Caden was moving before conscious thought. Dante with me. Marcus, dig deeper on Victor's meetings. I want times, dates, any detail. The drive back felt like drowning. Every red light an eternity. Every minute a countdown to something irreversible. When they pulled up to the house, it looked peaceful. Too peaceful, the kind of quiet that comes before explosions. Maya sat on the porch swing, wrapped in her blue cardigan despite the morning chill. Her eyes were red. From crying or lack of sleep, impossible to tell. Mom, your father had a brother, she said before Caden could finish. A twin, Lorenzo. The world tilted. I never told you because your father made me promise. Lorenzo was different, violent, unstable. When they built the empire together, Lorenzo wanted to rule through terror. Your father wanted structure. They split, viciously. Caden sat beside her, mind reeling. Your father won, drove Lorenzo out, took everything. We thought he died in Europe somewhere, forgotten, but her voice cracked. What if he didn't die? What if he had children? What if they're the Forgotten Sons? Caden finished. Maya nodded, tears streaming now. "I'm so sorry. I should have told you, should have warned you, but your father made me swear. Said some ghosts were better left buried." She grabbed his hands, her grip surprisingly strong. "Caden, please. Whatever you're planning, whatever you think you need to do, don't become him. Don't become either of them. I've already lost your father to this life. I can't lose you too." Her voice shattered on the last word, and something in Caden shattered with it. This woman who'd raised him alone, who'd taught him mercy in a world built on violence, who'd held together when everything fell apart, was begging him to stay human. But how do you stay human when wolves are circling? Some of you think he should listen to his mother. Others think he needs to unleash everything to protect her. There's no right answer here, and that's what makes this impossible. Tell us what you would do. "I promise," Caden started. His phone buzzed. A video message. Unknown sender. He almost didn't open it. Almost chose his mother over the phone. But instinct made him look. The video loaded. Victor, still tied to the chair, but now someone else was in frame. A man in an expensive suit, face obscured by shadow, voice distorted through a modulator. "Hello, nephew," the voice said. "Your mother finally told you about me. Good. Family shouldn't have secrets." The figure stepped closer to Victor, pulled out a knife. Long, curved, the kind that whispers nightmares. "You have 12 hours to come to the docks, alone, unarmed, or I start sending your consigliere back in pieces, starting with his lying tongue." The knife pressed against Victor's mouth. Victor's scream was muffled but audible. "Clock's ticking, Caden. Let's see if you're your father's son or your mother's." The video ended. Maya had seen it over his shoulder. Her hand covered her mouth. "Caden," he stood, kissed her forehead. "I love you, remember that. Don't go. Please, this is what he wants, I know." "Then why?" "Because Victor's family, too. And I don't abandon family." He walked toward the Escalade. Dante appeared from the house. "Boss, we have a problem." "What now?" "Garrison just called. Our entire security detail, the men we sent to watch the docks, the ones monitoring Victor's last known location, the team tracking the Forgotten Sons. What about them?" Dante's face was stone. "They're gone. All of them. Every single operative we had in the field. Vanished in the last hour. No calls, no check-ins, nothing." Caden's blood ran cold. Not just Victor, everyone. "How many?" 17 men. Gone like smoke." The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. This wasn't about Victor. This was about isolating Caden, stripping away his army, leaving him exposed, alone. Which meant his phone buzzed again. Another message. "Your consigliere sends his regards. Victor." No. Not Victor sending the message. Someone using Victor's phone, which meant Victor had already told them everything. Codes, safe houses, security protocols, every weakness in Caden's empire. And if Victor had talked, and at this point, anyone would have talked, then they knew about the emergency contingency. The backup plan. The one location where Caden kept his most valuable insurance policy. The offshore accounts, the evidence, the files that could bring down a dozen rival families, all in one location, all suddenly compromised. "Dante," Caden's voice was ice, "get my mother to the secondary location. Now, use the underground route. Tell no one where you're going, not even me." "Boss, that's an order." As Dante moved, Caden pulled out a second phone, the one only 3 people knew existed. Dialed a number he'd hoped never to use. It rang once. I was wondering when you'd call, a woman's voice answered. Smooth, dangerous, familiar. I need the wolves, Caden said. Silence, then. The price hasn't changed. You know what I want. You'll get it after. Before or no deal. Caden closed his eyes. The woman on the phone, Sienna Cross, was a ghost story even among ghosts. A mercenary who specialized in impossible situations. She'd saved his father once, nearly destroyed him twice. And the price she wanted? Control of 3 territories. A fortune in blood and real estate. But without her, he was walking into a massacre. Deal, Caden said. Smart boy. We'll be there in 4 hours. Try not to die before we arrive. The line went dead. Caden looked at his mother one last time. She stood on the porch, hands clasped like she was praying. Maybe she was. I'll come back, he called out. Promise me you'll come back, you, she answered. He couldn't promise that. So he just drove, and behind him, as the Escalade disappeared down the road, a figure watched from the tree line. Young, mid-20s, with Caden's father's eyes, and Lorenzo's smile. He pulled out a phone. He's moving, just like you said he would. A pause. No, he doesn't suspect, not yet. Another pause, then a laugh. Uncle Victor played his part perfectly. The Bennett Empire falls tonight. He hung up, melted back into the shadows, and the town held its breath, waiting for the war that was no longer coming, because the war had already been won. Caden just didn't know it yet. The chapel smelled like old wood and forgotten prayers. Mia's breath misted in the cold air as she stepped inside, the heavy door groaning shut behind her. Dante had driven her here, St. Michael's, the abandoned church on the hill where her husband was buried. Safe, he'd said. Secure. But she hadn't come for safety. The pews stretched empty in the dim light, dust motes swirling like tiny ghosts. Her footsteps echoed, too loud, too exposed, against marble floors that had once held Sunday crowds. Mrs. Bennett. The voice came from the shadows near the altar. Maya's heart hammered. Her hand found the small canister of pepper spray Caden had insisted she carry. Who's there? A woman stepped into a shaft of gray light filtering through stained glass. 30s, sharp-featured, dressed in black like she was attending a funeral. Or planning one. My name is Elena Cortez, she said quietly. I worked for your brother-in-law, Lorenzo. The name hit like a slap. Have you ever had someone appear with answers you didn't know you needed? That's what this moment felt like, terrifying and necessary all at once. I don't know what you... Please. Elena raised her hands, showing they were empty. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because I have a daughter. She's 7. And if I don't do this, they'll kill her. The desperation in her voice was real. Maya had heard that same tone in her own prayers too many times not to recognize it. Do what? Elena pulled something from her jacket. A small flash drive, silver and innocuous. This contains everything. The conspiracy, Victor's betrayal, the Forgotten Son's entire operation, bank accounts, safe houses, every move they've planned for the next 6 months. Maya's hand trembled as she stared at it. Why give it to me? Because they're watching Caden, every move, every call. But you? Elena's eyes glistened. You're the blind spot, the one piece they underestimated. Lorenzo thinks you're just a grieving widow, harmless. The chapel felt colder. The scent of incense, decades old, but somehow still present, mixed with something else. Fear. It had a smell, metallic, sharp. If I give this to Caden, Maya's voice cracked. "He'll have everything he needs to destroy them." Elena stepped closer. "But Mrs. Bennet, you need to understand something. This information, it implicates people he trusts, people he's known for years. When he sees what's on here, he won't just be angry, he'll be destroyed," Maya finished. The moral dilemma crystallized like ice. Give Caden the weapon that could save his empire but shatter his faith in everyone around him. Or keep it hidden, protect him from the truth, and watch everything collapse anyway. What would you do? Arm someone you love with devastating truth, or protect them from it? Drop your answer in the comments. Elena pressed the drive into Maya's palm. It felt warm, heavy with secrets. "There's something else," Elena whispered. "Victor, he didn't betray Caden by choice. They have his sister. She's diabetic. They're withholding her insulin. Every piece of information he gave them bought her another week of medication." Maya's eyes burned. "Oh, God. Everyone's a victim in this war, Mrs. Bennet, even the traitors." The chapel door burst open. Both women spun. Dante filled the doorway, gun drawn. "Mrs. B, we need to—" He saw Elena. The weapon lifted. "Step away from her." "No." Maya moved between them. "Dante, she's helping us." "Boss said trust no one. And I'm saying trust me." The standoff lasted 3 heartbeats. Then Dante lowered the gun slightly. "We got a problem. Security breach at the house. Someone tried the perimeter. We stopped them, but..." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, went pale. "What?" Maya demanded. "They just sent a message to every one of our secured channels." Dante's voice was hollow. They know. They know someone's leaking information." Elena's face drained of color. No, I was careful." "How did you get here?" Dante asked. I took precautions. Changed cars 3 times. Did you turn off your phone?" Silence. Elena's hand went to her pocket. Pulled out her phone. 7 missed calls. All from a number labeled home. Her daughter's location. Oh, God. Elena's knees buckled. They know I'm here. They know I... The phone buzzed. A text appeared. "Your daughter says hello. She's asking why you betrayed us. Should we tell her before or after?" Attached, a photo of a little girl, dark curls, bright eyes, clutching a stuffed rabbit, sitting in a chair. The same chair Victor had been tied to. If that photo made your blood run cold, you're not alone. Comment below, "Has this gone too far?" Elena screamed. Raw, primal, the sound echoing through the chapel like it was tearing her soul out. Maya grabbed her. "Where is she? Where's your daughter?" "The docks, the South Warehouse, that's their base. That's where..." Elena collapsed into sobs. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought I could save her. I thought..." Dante was already on his phone. "Boss, we got a situation. The docks, they have a kid, civilian, 7 years old." Maya couldn't hear Caden's response, but she saw Dante's expression shift. "He's already there," Dante said quietly. He walked right into it. The flash drive felt like it was burning through Maya's palm. All this information, all these secrets, and Caden was walking into a trap without knowing half of what was really happening. "We have to tell him," Maya said. "We have to—" "No signal at the docks," Dante interrupted. "It's a dead zone. They're jamming communications. By the time we get there..." The chapel's stained glass window exploded. Glass rained down in a shower of colored shards, blues and reds and golds mixing with screams and the sharp crack of a rifle shot. Dante shoved Maya behind a pew. "Stay down!" Elena wasn't moving. The stuffed rabbit from her daughter's photo lay in her hand, When had that appeared? But her eyes were empty, staring at the vaulted ceiling. The bullet hole in her chest was small. The pool spreading beneath her was not. No. Maya reached for her, but Dante pulled her back. She's gone. We need to move, now. More shots. The altar exploded in splinters. Dante returned fire, his gun barking in the enclosed space, deafening, acrid smoke filling the cold air. Back exit. He dragged Mia toward the vestry. Move! They ran through the narrow corridor, Maya's shoes slapping against stone, her breath coming in gasps, the flash drive clenched so tight in her fist it left marks. Behind them, footsteps. Heavy, multiple. They burst through the back door into gray daylight. A black van screeched up, door already open. Get in! Garrett, Dante's second, was driving, face grim. Maya scrambled inside. Dante followed, slamming the door as bullets punched through the chapel's wooden walls. The van peeled out, tires screaming. Maya looked back at the church, at Elena's body visible through the shattered window, at the little girl who would never see her mother again. The drive, Dante said. Give it to me. I'll get it to... No. Maya's voice was steel. I'm taking it to Caden myself. Mrs. B, that's not... My son is walking into hell without knowing who his real enemies are. I won't let him die ignorant. Dante studied her face, saw something there that made him nod. Then we better drive fast, he said, because we've got maybe 20 minutes before he reaches the warehouse. The van accelerated, and in the chapel behind them a figure emerged from the shadows, the same young man with Lorenzo's smile. He knelt beside Elena's body, picked up the stuffed rabbit, smiled. Phase 3 complete, he said into his phone. The mother's in play, just like Uncle Victor predicted. He stood, walked away, and on the altar, carved into the wooden crucifix with a knife, fresh letters still weeping sap. The forgotten always remember. The laptop screen glowed blue in the darkness of the moving van. Caden's fingers trembled, actually trembled, as he inserted the flash drive. Maya sat beside him, one hand on his shoulder, the other clutching a rosary she hadn't touched in years. The scent inside the van was sweat and gunpowder and his mother's lavender perfume mixing into something that tasted like the end of everything. Caden, Maya whispered, whatever you see, I need to see it. The files loaded, spreadsheets, encrypted messages, bank transfers, photos, audio recordings. His eyes scanned, faster, then stopped. Have you ever had the ground disappear beneath you? That's what betrayal feels like when it's this complete. Victor's face filled the screen. A video diary entry, dated 3 months ago. His consigliere looked tired, broken, but alive, speaking directly to camera. Caden, if you're watching this, I'm either dead or you've finally discovered the truth. I didn't betray you by choice. They have Sophia, my sister, the only family I have left. Caden's jaw clenched so hard he tasted copper. Victor continued, Lorenzo Bennett, your uncle, he found her in Phoenix. She was living quiet, anonymous, safe, until she wasn't. He's been withholding her insulin. Every piece of information I gave him bought her another week of life. The video cut to a photo. Sophia, mid-50s, in a hospital bed, tubes, monitors, the same chair Elena's daughter had been photographed in. But that's not the worst part. Victor's voice cracked. The syndicate, the Forgotten Sons, it's not just Lorenzo. It's bigger. Your father didn't just destroy one family, he destroyed 7 and their children. They've been planning this for 20 years. The screen filled with faces, young men and women, all with one thing in common, eyes that looked like Caden's. Family resemblance mapping across a conspiracy. cousins he'd never met, siblings his father had never acknowledged, blood he didn't know existed. "They've infiltrated everything," Victor continued. "Your shipping operation compromised. Your legitimate businesses, 3 board members are forgotten sons. Your security detail—" He paused, swallowed. "Garrett, your second in command. He's Lorenzo's grandson." The world tilted. Caden looked up. Through the van's partition at Garrett driving, the man who'd saved his life twice, who'd been at his father's funeral, Garrett's eyes met his in the rearview mirror, and smiled. The van swerved hard. Tires screamed. Caden grabbed Maya as they slammed against the wall. The laptop flew, crashing into the metal interior. "Dante!" Caden roared. But Dante was in the passenger seat already moving, gun drawn, pressing it against Garrett's temple. "Pull over." "Now!" Garrett laughed. "You'll kill us all." "Try me." The van screeched to a halt on the empty road. Dawn light bleeding over the horizon, turning everything gold and red. Beautiful. Wrong. Dante dragged Garrett out, slammed him against the side of the van. Caden stepped out slowly. The morning air tasted like dew and diesel and the bitter edge of adrenaline. "How long?" Caden's voice was quiet. "Dead." Garrett spat blood. "Since the beginning, since your father killed mine. I was 6 years old when I watched him put a bullet in my dad's head. You remember me, Caden, little Garrett, the orphan your father adopted into the organization?" The memory surfaced. Garrett, 10 years old, scared. Caden had taught him to throw a football, "You became my brother," Caden whispered. "I became your spy." Garrett's grin was all teeth. "Every secret, every vulnerability, every moment you thought you were safe, I was reporting back, building the map of your empire so we could burn it down." Comment if you've ever trusted someone completely only to discover it was all a lie. That's what Caden's feeling right now, multiplied by 1,000. Maya stepped out of the van. "Caden, don't—" "Mom, get back inside. Please. This is what they want. They want you to become—" "I said, get inside." His voice cracked like a whip. Maya flinched, stepped back, and Caden saw it in her eyes. Fear. Not of Garrett, of him. The moral dilemma burned through him like acid. Kill Garrett here, end the betrayal. Send a message that loyalty has consequences. Or use him. Keep him alive, let him think he's won. Feed false information back through the pipeline. But keeping him alive meant trusting himself not to put a bullet between those lying eyes. "Where's Victor?" Caden asked, gun suddenly in his hand. Didn't remember drawing it. "South Docks, Warehouse 7, but he's not alone." Garrett laughed again. "Lorenzo's there, with 30 men. And your precious Sienna Cross, the mercenary you called, she's not coming. We paid her double to disappear. 30-1. Impossible odds. Suicide. Which meant it was exactly what Caden had to do. "Dante, tie him up. We're taking him with us. Boss, I know what he'll do." Caden's eyes were empty. "But Lorenzo wants me broken, alone. If I show up with a hostage, it changes the game." Garrett's smile faltered. "You're insane. No." Caden pressed the gun against Garrett's forehead. "I'm my father's son. And you're about to learn what that really means." His phone buzzed. Text message, unknown number. He opened it. A photo loaded, Maya's house, the garden, the porch swing, burning, orange flames consuming white shutters, black smoke blotting out morning sky. The text below read, "Tick-tock, nephew. Your mother's sanctuary is ash. How long before she is too? Lorenzo."
Caden's hand shook. The gun pressed harder against Garrett's skull. "Do it," Garrett whispered. "Become the monster. Prove Lorenzo right." Maya's voice cut through. "Caden Bennett, look at me." He did. Tears streamed down her face. "That house was just wood. I'm still here. I'm still alive. Don't you dare let him take your soul too." The gun lowered, inch by inch. Garrett exhaled. "But," Caden said softly, "that doesn't mean you get mercy." He pulled the trigger. The shot wasn't fatal. Garrett screamed, collapsing, kneecap shattered. "That's for my father," Caden said. "The rest you'll pay for later." What would you have done? Killed him or let him live? Drop your answer below because this choice defines everything. Dante dragged the sobbing Garrett back into the van. Caden turned to his mother. "I need you to stay here. Dante will guard you." "No, I'm coming with you." "Mom, you think I've survived this long by hiding?" Her voice was steel wrapped in silk. "That flash drive? I brought it to you. Elena died getting it to me. I won't let her sacrifice be for nothing." Caden stared at this woman, this gentle, kind woman who'd raised him to be better than his father, and saw the warrior she'd always been. "Okay," he said quietly, "but you stay in the van. Safe distance. Promise me." She nodded. Lies. They both knew it. But some lies are necessary. The van started moving again. New driver, one of Dante's trusted men, heading toward the docks. Caden reviewed the flash drive files. Names, locations, evidence. So much evidence. But one file caught his eye. Audio recording. Labeled, "The Real Plan." He clicked it. Lorenzo's voice filled the van, distorted, cold, but undeniably his uncle. "Victor thinks he's buying his sister's life. Fool, she's been dead for 2 weeks. We've been sending him photos of a body double." Caden's blood froze. "Elena Cortez thinks she's saving her daughter. The child's already been relocated, safe, anonymous. We never intended to hurt her. Just needed Elena desperate enough to play her part." The recording continued. "Caden will come. He'll come angry, broken, exactly how we need him. Because the real target isn't his empire. It's not his territory. It's his legend." A pause. "We destroy who he is. Make the world watch as the great Caden Bennett, the man who claimed to be better than his father, becomes exactly what his father was. A monster." The recording ended. Maya's hand found Caden's, squeezed. "They're trying to make you the villain of your own story," she whispered. "I know." "So what do we do?" Caden looked out the window. The docks appeared on the horizon. Gray water, rusted warehouses, the smell of salt and decay already seeping through the vents. "We give them a different story," he said. His phone buzzed. New message from Victor's number. But this time he knew it was really Victor. The message was simple. "I'm sorry for everything. But Caden, it's not Lorenzo at the warehouse. It's her. The one person you'd never suspect. Run." Her. Who? Caden's mind raced through possibilities. Sienna? No. She was mercenary, not personal. Someone closer. Someone who'd know every move. Someone who'd been there from the beginning. The van pulled up to the warehouse, doors already open, waiting, and standing in the entrance, backlit by industrial lights. Caden's breath stopped. "No," he whispered. Because it wasn't Lorenzo. It was never Lorenzo. It was his father's most trusted advisor. The woman who'd been at every family dinner, who'd held Caden as a baby. His godmother, Celine. And she was smiling.
The warehouse tasted like rust and betrayal. Caden stepped through the entrance, gun drawn but lowered, a gesture that said he came for answers, not war. Yet. Behind him, Dante flanked left, another guard right. Maya stayed in the van despite her protests. The interior was cathedral vast, shipping containers stacked like tombstones, industrial lights hanging from chains, swaying slightly, casting shadows that moved like living things. And in the center, under a single spotlight, stood Celine Russo, 62 years old, silver hair swept into an elegant knot, wearing a black pantsuit that cost more than most cars. She looked like she was attending the opera, not orchestrating a massacre. "Caden," her voice echoed, warm as poisoned honey. "My beautiful godson, you're late." "Celine." He couldn't keep the tremor from his voice. "Why?" She smiled, sad, genuine. That made it worse. "Because your father took everything from me, my husband, my sons, my future." She stepped forward, heels clicking on concrete. "Did he ever tell you about Paolo? My Paolo?" Caden's mind raced. "Your husband died in a car accident. 25 years ago. Is that what he told you?" Celine laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Paolo Russo was Lorenzo's best friend. When your father and Lorenzo went to war, Paolo tried to make peace, tried to stop the bloodshed." She pulled out a photograph, slid it across the floor. Caden picked it up. A young man, handsome, laughing, standing between two others, one he recognized as his father, the other must have been Lorenzo. "Your father shot him," Celine continued. "Point blank, in our kitchen while I was upstairs putting our twin boys to bed. Then he staged it as a car accident. Paid off the coroner, the police, everyone." Have you ever learned that your hero was someone else's monster? That's the knife twisting in Caden's chest right now. I stayed quiet, raised my boys alone, became your father's most trusted advisor, held you as a baby, Caden, taught you to play chess. I loved you. Her voice cracked. But then your father got sick. Cancer. And as he lay dying, you know what his last words to me were? Caden's throat closed. "Thank you for your loyalty." Celine's eyes glistened. He never even remembered killing Paolo. It was just another Tuesday for him. Another body. Another family destroyed. The moral weight crushed down. How do you defend a father who was a monster? How do you honor memory built on graves? "So you built all this?" Caden gestured at the warehouse. 20 years of planning? 23, she corrected gently. "I found Lorenzo in Prague, broken, bitter. I gave him purpose. We found the others, all your father's orphans. We gave them family." Footsteps echoed from the shadows. Figures emerged, dozens of them, young and old. All with familiar features, all with eyes that burned. The Forgotten Sons weren't a syndicate. They were a family reunion. "Where's Victor?" Caden demanded. Celine gestured to a shipping container. Dante moved toward it, weapon raised. Inside, Victor sat slumped in a chair, alive, but barely. Beaten, bloodied. His sister's photo clutched in his hand. "Sophie is dead, Victor," Caden said quietly. 2 weeks ago. Victor's head lifted, eyes hollow. "I know. They told me yesterday, after I'd already given them everything." The sound that came from Victor wasn't quite human. Grief and rage and guilt braided into one broken exhale. "I'm sorry," Caden whispered. "Don't be." Victor's voice was gravel. "Be smart. She has a sniper. Rafters. North corner." Caden's eyes flicked up.
caught the glint of a scope. "And the exits," Victor continued. "Rigged. Explosives. You came here to die, boss. We all did." Celine clapped slowly. Victor always was perceptive. "Yes, Caden. This warehouse is your tomb. You, your mother outside in that van, Dante, Victor, all the pieces on the board swept clean." "Why tell me?" Caden asked. "Why not just detonate?" "Because I want you to understand." Celine stepped closer. Close enough he could smell her perfume, jasmine, the same she'd worn at his father's funeral. "Your father built an empire on corpses. You inherited it. And empires built on blood always drown in it eventually." She pulled out a detonator, held it up like a communion wafer. "I'm giving you a choice, godson. The same choice your father never gave Paolo. Walk away, leave everything. Your territory, your name, your legacy. Disappear with Maya and never look back. And if I refuse, then everyone dies, including the 30 innocent dock workers in the warehouses surrounding this one. The blast radius is a 1/4 mile. Comment below. Walk away and lose everything, or fight and risk innocent lives. There's no good answer here." Caden's gun felt heavy, useless. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Celine's thumb hovered over the button. "I've spent 23 years planning this. I've already lost everything that mattered. What's 30 more bodies?" The math was simple, brutal, impossible. Surrender meant his empire fell. Victor died for nothing. Elena died for nothing. Every sacrifice made to protect his mother, wasted. Fighting meant innocent people burned. 10 seconds, Caden." His mind raced through scenarios. Dante could take the shot, but the detonator was a dead man's switch. If Celine fell, they all died anyway. 5 seconds. He could rush her, maybe disarm her before. 3. Maya's voice cut through the darkness. "Celine, stop." Every head turned. Maya stood at the warehouse entrance, small and defiant, holding something in her hand. A second detonator. "Where did you—" Celine's face went pale. "Elena gave me more than a flash drive," Maya said quietly. "She gave me insurance. This detonator controls different explosives, the ones under your safe houses, your bank accounts, your family's homes." Celine's hand trembled. "You're bluffing." "Try me." Maya's voice was steel. "I've lost a husband to this life. I won't lose my son. So here's my offer. You walk away. All of you. Leave this city. Leave us alone. Or I push this button and we all lose everything." The standoff crystallized. 2 women, 2 detonators, 2 decades of grief pointing at each other. Who would blink first? Caden realized something. His mother had become what he'd always tried to be, strong enough to sacrifice everything, including her innocence, to protect family. "Mom, you don't have to." "Yes, I do." She met his eyes. "Because if I don't, you will." And that's what she wants. She wants you to become your father. I won't allow it. Celine studied Mia, recognition flickering. You knew. You knew about Paolo." Silence. "I found the real police report," Maya whispered. 5 years after your husband died, hidden in my husband's safe. I confronted him. He told me everything. And her voice broke. I chose to stay silent, to protect Caden, to protect the life we'd built. Tears streamed down Maya's face. "I'm so sorry, Celine, for your loss, for my silence, for every year I let you suffer alone." She raised the detonator higher. "But I won't let you destroy my son for my husband's sins. So push your button. I'll push mine. We'll all burn together." The warehouse held its breath. Somewhere, a pipe dripped. The sound impossibly loud. Then, Celine lowered her detonator. "You would have, wouldn't you?" she said softly. "Actually pushed it." "Yes." "Then you're stronger than I thought." Celine set the detonator down, kicked it toward Caden. "I wanted justice, but this..." She gestured at the standoff. "This is just more bodies, more orphans, more Selenas 20 years from now." She looked at the faces around her, the forgotten sons, watching, waiting. "Stand down," she ordered. "But..." The young man with Lorenzo's smile stepped forward. "We've come this far." "I said stand down!" Celine's voice cracked. "Enough! Enough blood! Enough ghosts!" Slowly, weapons lowered. But Caden's instincts screamed wrong. Too easy. Too clean. Celine was many things, but she wasn't a quitter. His eyes caught movement in the rafters. The sniper adjusting position, not aiming at him, aiming at Maya. "Mom!" He dove. The shot rang out, deafening, echoing, final. But the bullet didn't hit Mia. It hit Celine. She staggered backward, hand to her chest, eyes wide with shock. The sniper stood in the rafters and lowered his mask. Lorenzo, not dead, not in hiding, right here, right now. "Sorry, sister-in-law," Lorenzo's voice boomed, "but I didn't spend 20 years planning this to watch you grow a conscience." He aimed at Caden. And the real war began. Gunfire erupted like thunder trapped in steel. Caden rolled, pulling Maya behind a shipping container as bullets sparked off metal, the smell of cordite burning his nostrils. Dante returned fire, muzzle flashes lighting the warehouse like strobe lights. Lorenzo dropped from the rafters, impossibly agile for a man in his 60s, and landed in a crouch, ghost of a smile on his face that looked exactly like Caden's father. "Hello, nephew." His voice carried over the chaos. "Your father stole my face, my name, my empire. Time I took his son." More figures poured from the shadows. Not the forgotten sons. They'd scattered when Celine fell. These were professionals, mercenaries, the real army Lorenzo had been hiding. 20 guns, maybe more. Dante took a bullet to the shoulder, went down hard. Victor, broken, beaten Victor, grabbed a fallen weapon and fired blindly, covering their retreat. The warehouse tasted like blood and gunpowder and the copper tang of fear sweat. Every breath burned, every heartbeat hammered too loud. Caden assessed. 3 guns, 4 people, 20-plus enemies. Celine bleeding out in the center, exits rigged. No backup. Impossible odds. His father's voice echoed from memory. "Impossible just means no one's tried hard enough." "Caden." Maya's hand gripped his arm. "The detonator. Elena's. It's real. Mom. I'm not asking permission." She pressed it into his hand. "You know what to do." He looked at the device. Understood. Elena hadn't rigged safe houses. She'd rigged this warehouse. Secondary charges. Fail-safe if the primary plan collapsed. One button. Everyone dies. Including them. Have you ever held the power to end everything in your palm? Comment what you'd do. Push it or find another way. "There's no other way out," Maya whispered, reading his face. "Lorenzo won't stop. Not ever. He'll hunt us. Hunt anyone we've ever known. This ends here." "I won't kill you," Caden said. "Then we die together." She smiled, sad, fierce, final. "Better than watching you become what your father was." Lorenzo's voice boomed. "Touching, a mother's love. My brother had that too. Didn't stop him from putting 3 bullets in my spine and leaving me paralyzed for 2 years. He stepped into the light, gun aimed at Caden's head. "Physical therapy's a bitch, nephew, but it gives you time. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to find every person your father loved and destroy them one by one. My father's dead, Caden said. But his empire isn't. His son isn't. His legend isn't. Lorenzo's face twisted. That's what I'm here to kill. The myth. The idea that Bennett blood means power. I want the world to watch the great Caden Bennett beg. I don't beg. Everyone begs. Lorenzo fired. The bullet hit the container 6 inches from Caden's head. Deliberate miss. Get on your knees. Caden stood taller. No. Another shot. Closer. I said knees. The moral dilemma blazed white-hot. Kneel and give Lorenzo what he wants. Humiliation. Proof that Bennett blood can be broken. Or stand and watch everyone die for pride. Some of you think he should kneel to buy time. Others think standing is the only choice. What would you do? Tell us below. Caden, please, Maya whispered. He met his mother's eyes, saw the fear, not for herself, for his soul, and slowly, so slowly, Caden's knees began to bend. That's it, Lorenzo grinned, just like your father did. Before I pulled myself from that warehouse and... Stop! The voice came from the warehouse entrance. Everyone turned. Celine stood, somehow, impossibly stood, one hand pressed to her bleeding chest, the other holding her detonator. I said stop. Blood flecked her lips. Lorenzo, you were supposed to wait. Let me finish this my way. Your way was weak, Lorenzo spat. You were going to let them walk. Because I remembered why Paolo died. Celine's voice echoed. He died trying to stop this. The cycle, the blood, the endless revenge. She looked at Caden. Your father was a monster, but monsters aren't born. They're made by pain, by loss. By people like me who teach them that violence is the only language that matters. She raised the detonator. So I'm ending it. All of it. The Forgotten Sons, the Bennett Empire, every single piece. You're bluffing, Lorenzo said, but his voice wavered. Watch me. Her thumb moved toward the button. Caden realized. She meant it. Celine was going to blow the warehouse, kill everyone, salt the earth where empires grew. Wait! Caden shouted. Celine paused. You're right, Caden said. My father was a monster, and I've spent my whole life trying not to become him. But here, now, I'm realizing something. He stood, dropped his gun. I can't stop you. Can't stop Lorenzo. Can't win this fight. His voice cracked. But I can choose. Right here. Right now. I can choose who I become. He stepped into the open, arms spread, vulnerable. So here's my choice. I'm done. The Empire? Take it. The territory? Yours. The Bennett name? Bury it with my father. Caden, Maya gasped. I choose her. He pointed at his mother. I choose being her son over being his. I choose living over ruling. I choose mercy. Lorenzo laughed. You think surrender saves you? No. Caden met his uncle's eyes. I think it saves me from becoming you. The warehouse fell silent. Celine's hand trembled. You'd give up everything? Everything except what matters. And what matters? Her. Caden looked at Maya. Only her. Lorenzo's gun rose. Then die a coward. His finger tightened on the trigger, and Maya stepped between them. No. Her voice was absolute. You want to kill someone? Kill me. I'm the one who stayed silent. Who let Paolo's murder go unpunished? Who chose my family over justice? Mom, don't. I'm the one, Maya continued, tears streaming. Who made my son into this? Who taught him to value power? Who never told him the truth about his father until it was too late? She opened her arms, offering herself. So pull the trigger, Lorenzo. But know this. If you kill me, you prove you're exactly what my husband was. A man who murders the innocent to feel powerful. Lorenzo's gun shook. You think guilt works on me? No. Maya smiled sadly. I think you're tired. I think 23 years of hate has hollowed you out. I think you're standing here with a gun and can't remember why it matters anymore. Have you ever watched someone choose love over survival? That's what Maya's doing, and it's breaking everyone watching. Comment if you felt that. Celine lowered her detonator. She's right. Lorenzo, we're tired. We've been angry so long we forgot what we were fighting for. I'm fighting for Paolo. Celine's voice broke. For justice. No. Maya stepped closer to Lorenzo's gun. You're fighting because stopping would mean admitting the pain won. That they broke you. That love lost. Lorenzo's hand dropped an inch. But love didn't lose, Maya whispered. It's right here. In Celine finding the strength to stop. In Caden choosing me over Empire. In you. Yes. You, Lorenzo, hesitating instead of pulling that trigger. I should kill you. You should. Maya nodded. But you won't, because you're not my husband. You're not the monster. You're just a man who's been hurt too long. Lorenzo's gun lowered, then dropped. He collapsed to his knees, face in his hands, and the sound that came out was decades of grief finally escaping.
Celine fell beside him, pressed her bleeding hand to his shoulder, and in the silence that followed, Caden understood. This was victory. Not conquest, not domination, choosing humanity over hate. The warehouse doors burst open. Police, FBI, the authorities Elena had secretly contacted before she died, her real insurance policy. Agents flooded in, weapons drawn, shouting orders. Lorenzo and Celine didn't resist, just sat together in the blood and cordite, two ghosts finally laid to rest. Caden pulled his mother close. You saved me. No. Maya cupped his face. You saved yourself. By choosing who you could become instead of who they wanted you to be. Sirens wailed outside. Dawn light streaming through bullet holes in the warehouse walls, turning everything gold. Victor limped over. Boss. Not boss anymore, Caden said quietly. Just Caden. Then Caden. Victor managed a broken smile. Thank you for not leaving me. Family doesn't leave family. As the FBI led Lorenzo and Celine away, Celine caught Caden's eyes one last time, mouthed two words. Thank you. For stopping her, for breaking the cycle, for choosing mercy when she couldn't. Caden nodded, and felt something lift, something heavy he'd been carrying since his father's funeral, the weight of becoming. He didn't have to be a king, or a boss, or a legend. He could just be a son. 3 weeks later, the diner smelled like fresh paint and second chances. Caden pushed open the door, that same cheerful bell tinkling, and the conversations didn't stop this time. People nodded. Some smiled. A few even waved. The town had exhaled. Maya sat in the same booth where it all began. Reading glasses perched on her nose, a book open beside her coffee. The bruise on her cheek had faded to nothing, but the strength in her eyes, that was permanent. Blueberry pancakes? The waitress asked Caden. Tessa, Marcus's niece, who'd taken over the morning shift. Please, and bacon. Lots of bacon. She grinned. Coming up. Caden slid into the booth across from his mother. The vinyl squeaked, a sound that used to annoy him. Now it felt like home. You're late, Maya said without looking up from her book. Traffic. Liar, you were at the hospital again. He smiled.
She always knew. Victor's doing better. Physical therapy's helping. He might walk without the cane by Christmas. And his sister's grave? Headstone's beautiful. He visits every morning. Maya closed her book, reached across the table and took his hand. You gave him that. Peace. Closure. A reason to keep living. I gave him nothing. He earned it by surviving. The morning sun streamed through the windows, catching the steam from fresh coffee, turning everything warm and golden. Outside, Mrs. Chen was setting up her flower stand again. The hardware store had a grand reopening banner, life returning to normal, or at least a new version of it. Have you ever watched something broken slowly heal? That's what this town was doing, and it's the most beautiful kind of victory. The FBI called, Caden said. Lorenzo's pleading guilty. 30 years minimum. Celine's cooperating. Her testimony's bringing down 3 other crime families. And the forgotten sons? Scattered. Some surrendered. Some disappeared. The young one, the one with Lorenzo's smile, turned state's evidence. Witness protection. Maya sipped her coffee. Do you think they'll try again? Maybe. Probably. Caden shrugged. But I'm not a threat anymore. No empire, no territory. Just a guy who helps his mom with her garden and occasionally consults for the FBI on organized crime. Occasionally? Maya raised an eyebrow. Frequently. But they pay well. She laughed. The sound was sunshine and silver bells and everything he'd fought to protect. Tessa brought the pancakes. The smell, maple syrup, butter, blueberries bursting sweet, was almost overwhelming. When had he last eaten breakfast without tasting fear? Enjoy, Tessa said. Then quieter. Thank you for what you did. My uncle says you could have blown everything up, killed everyone, but you didn't. Caden met her eyes. I got lucky. Had a good teacher. He glanced at Maya. Tessa smiled and walked away. You know, Maya said softly, your father never understood this. What? That power isn't about control, it's about choice. He spent his whole life taking choices from people. You spent 3 weeks giving them back. Caden thought about that. About the families he'd helped relocate, the businesses he'd quietly funded to rebuild, the anonymous donations to families affected by his father's empire. Atonement wasn't loud. It was quiet, daily, endless. I'll never fix everything he broke, Caden said. No, but you'll fix what you can. That's enough. The diner door opened. Dante walked in, arm in a sling, but grinning. Behind him, Garrett limped on crutches. Yes, that Garrett. What would you do? Forgive someone who betrayed you or cut them out forever? Comment your honest answer, because this isn't easy. Caden tensed. Maya squeezed his hand. Garrett approached slowly, stopped at the table. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Don't deserve it. But I wanted to say. He swallowed. You could have killed me. Should have. Instead, you paid for my surgery, my rehab. Even got me a job at the hardware store. You were family once, Caden said quietly. Maybe you can be again. Someday. Garrett's eyes reddened. He nodded. Couldn't speak. Just nodded and left. Dante slid into the booth beside Maya. Kid's doing good work. Building shelves like his life depends on it. Maybe it does, Maya said. Second chances have weight. You carry them or they crush you. They ate in comfortable silence, the kind of silence that comes after storms, after wars, after choosing peace when violence was easier. Caden's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Thank you for showing mercy. Celine won't admit it, but You gave her something my brother never did. A chance to be human again. Stay safe, nephew. L. Lorenzo. From prison. Somehow. Caden showed it to Maya. Will you write back? She asked. Maybe. Eventually. He pocketed the phone. Not today. Why not? Because today is for pancakes. And you. And remembering that some things matter more than answering ghosts. Maya's smile could have lit the entire diner. You know what your father's last words to me actually were? Not thank you for your loyalty. That was a lie Celine believed because it fit her narrative. Caden set down his fork. What did he really say? Tell Caden I'm sorry. Tell him he doesn't have to be me. Maya's voice caught. He knew. At the end, he knew what he'd become, what he'd done. And his last wish was that you'd be different. Tears burned Caden's eyes. I wish he'd told me himself. Me too. But he couldn't. Shame wouldn't let him. She touched his cheek. But you can. You can tell the next generation. Break the cycle. Be the father he wasn't, the man he wanted to be. I don't have kids. Not yet. But you will. And when you do, you'll tell them the truth. That strength isn't about winning every fight. It's about knowing which fights not to start. The diner filled around them. Morning rush. Locals laughing, arguing about sports, complaining about weather. Normal, beautiful, fragile. This was what he'd saved. Not territory, not empire. This. You saved me, Maya whispered, echoing that moment in the warehouse. By choosing who you could become, not who they wanted you to be. Caden squeezed her hand. You saved me first, by teaching me I had a choice. Outside, the sun climbed higher. A new day, a new chapter. The Bennett Empire was gone. The legend dead. The ghosts laid to rest. But Caden was finally, truly alive. More coffee? Tessa appeared with the pot. Please, Caden and Maya said in unison, and as the coffee poured, rich, dark, steaming, Caden realized something. This was victory, not conquest, not revenge, not ruling through fear. Just breakfast with his mother in a sunny diner where 3 weeks ago everything had nearly ended. Some wars you win by walking away. Some empires you destroy by refusing to rebuild them. Some legends you kill by becoming human. Have you ever realized that winning doesn't always look like you thought it would? That's the real twist. The best victories are quiet. Drop a comment if this story changed how you see strength. What are you thinking about? Maya asked. Pancakes, Caden lied. She saw through it. And how lucky I am that you raised me to know when to stop. You did the stopping. I just reminded you it was an option. Best option I ever chose. The diner bell chimed. Life flowed. The town breathed. And Caden Bennett, no longer a boss, no longer a legend, just a man, ate breakfast with his mother and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Real, fragile, hard-won peace. The kind you protect not with guns and empires, but with choices. Daily. Quiet. Human. Same time tomorrow? Maya asked. Every day, Caden promised, and meant it. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Share it with someone who needs to hear that choosing humanity over hate is the bravest thing you can do. Comment below what this story meant to you, because every comment reminds us why we tell stories like this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing hope. See you in the next story. Until then, stay human.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.